Tonight, London's mayor lashes out at Trump, saying we must reject his politics of fear. The US president was treated to a warm Windsor welcome, but Sadiq Khan has accused him of fanning the flames of far-right politics. These protesters in central London agree and made their feelings known at an anti-Trump rally. We gauge the feeling from across the divide.
I call him Daddy Trump. People have been crucifying me for calling him Daddy Trump. He's the best president ever.
Rolled out a red carpet, welcomed him with open arms. He's doing disgusting things. We should not be normalising this.
Also on the programme, the prime suspect in Madeleine McCann's disappearance is out of jail, but the Met still wants to speak to him. And
I'm Eddie Hearn, I'm the chairman of Matchroom Sport.
My son and here.
boxing promoter Eddie Hearn on why he won't be leaving Brentwood. Good evening. He may have had a right royal welcome from the King and Queen today, but Donald Trump's arrival in the UK has been met with a barrage of criticism from London's mayor. So Sadiq Khan has reignited his war of words with the US president, accusing him of fueling divisive far-right politics. Trump, though, appeared blissfully unaware of any ill feeling, enjoying today's ceremony safely behind the walls of Windsor Castle. Our political correspondent Simon Harris is there. Simon.
Yasmin, Windsor is perhaps second only to London when it comes to putting on royal pageants, and Donald Trump got the full works today. There were processions, parades, marching bands, salutes and a flypast. Downing Street and the Palace will no doubt be relieved that it went largely without a hiccup. But there was also that unexpected heckle from the sidelines from Sadiq Khan. Donald Trump flew into Windsor and straight into another public spat with London's mayor. The government was desperate for this diplomatic charm offensive to stay on track, and the royal family rolled out the red carpet for the VIP visitor. Sir Sadiq Khan's intervention was at the very least unhelpful. This is the front page headline in The Guardian, where the mayor chose today to reignite his feud with the president. In the paper, he writes, Donald Trump and his coterie have fanned the flames of divisive far-right politics. He went on scapegoating minorities, illegally deporting US citizens, deploying the military to the streets of diverse cities. These actions aren't just inconsistent with Western values, they're straight out of the autocrat's playbook.
Sadiq Khan is a student politician. He's not a serious person, and he's done great damage to our capital city. This continued throwing of stones at an important ally is just absolute standard Sadiq.
The president travelled from helicopter to castle in a horse-drawn carriage along a route lined only by military personnel. There he was treated to the full state visit ceremonial. The president and first lady alongside the king and queen. Windsor's perfectly manicured lawns betraying no sign of the summer drought. As he inspected the guard of honour, he may have cast his mind back to the last time. Then it was the king's mother at his side. All this took place inside the castle walls, away from the public gaze. Outside there was little to see apart from TV news crews and lots of police, some of them armed. But it didn't stop some sightseers turning up, hoping perhaps for a glimpse at least of the president's helicopter. Alana is a student at a sixth form college in Windsor and came proudly wearing her MAGA cap.
Yeah. I love him. I think he's a great man. I like his views on deportation. I think he is a good man altogether.
I think that his views on deportation and his views on other races is not good at all. I think it's quite horrible, in my opinion.
He's a great man. He's a great fella. I call him Daddy Trump. People have been crucifying me for calling him Daddy Trump. He's the best president ever.
Steve is definitely not a fan. The chair of Windsor Pride claims the president's policies on diversity and inclusion in the States are affecting the sponsorship of some pride events in this country.
There's companies that are American who have offices in the UK and Europe, and worldwide it's done significant damage to other pride organisations who heavily rely on doing a free event, but it's paid for by sponsorship and things like that, so everyone's had to scale back.
Security might be tight, but it didn't stop a stunt last night when pictures of Trump and the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein were projected onto the castle walls. Thames Valley Police arrested 4 men on suspicion of malicious communication.
To be honest, it would be very, very difficult to prevent or stop something like this, which could be deployed from a distance and therefore outside of potentially the perimeter of security around Windsor Castle.
There was more pageantry this afternoon, and despite the grey sky and low cloud, a flypast from the Red Arrows.
Simon, the day's not over yet, though, is it? What's on Trump's itinerary for later?
Well, Yasmin, after a day of ceremonies, the President and his royal hosts are getting ready for the feast. That's the official state banquet, the one that's being boycotted by Sir Ed Davey, the Liberal Democrat leader, over Gaza. For the first time, we're expected to hear from the President at that event, but I doubt he'll mention the mayor. Tomorrow, the Trumps go their separate ways after spending the night at Windsor. The First Lady has some engagements with the royals. The President is off to Chequers for a joint news conference with the Prime Minister. For security reasons, almost everything that happened today has taken place on the royal estate, and for that reason, there have actually been very few protesters in Windsor today. It's been a very quiet town.
OK, Simon, thank you. Well, a fair way from the pomp and pageantry in Windsor. An anti-Donald Trump protest has been taking place in central London. Rags Martel is in Westminster for us. Rags, what's the feeling there today?
Good evening, Yasmin. Yes, well, while Trump got that royal welcome in Windsor, the reception he's had here in London is very different. Take a look at this. This is a group calling themselves the Stop Trump Coalition. They've been marching through London with a simple message that Mr. Trump is not welcome here. They started gathering earlier this afternoon, and we followed them from the start. They came with drums, masks, and balloons.
It's just terrible embarrassment to Britain, the British. Why? They're just trying to entertain a petulant baby and give him the benefit of a ride in a golden chariot just to keep him happy and get better trade deals. The whole thing is so preposterous and embarrassing. I really feel so sorry for King Charles.
It's upsetting me that we're giving him the time, the honour of coming here, even meeting our king. It doesn't make sense to me at all.
So it's just gone 3 o'clock and the march is just setting off on the top of Regent Street, heading towards Westminster.
Why are you here?
You want to do a deal with me? I've got bags of cash, I'll do a deal.
It's awful. The royal family have rolled out a red carpet, welcomed him with open arms. He's doing disgusting things. We should not be normalising this.
There was a lone counter-protester supporting Trump, but he was moved on by police.
So I'm here because Donald Trump's a climate change denier. You're the most powerful man on the planet, and you could really do something about climate change.
Maybe it's good that we talk to him then.
Yeah, well, we don't want drill baby drill.
By 4 p.m, the march had reached Trafalgar Square, with demonstrators heading towards Westminster. Well, the speakers at this rally include the singer and activist Billy Bragg, as well as the MP for Islington North, Jeremy Corbyn. He got a very big cheer when he came on earlier. They're going to go on for another hour with this demonstration, expected to stop around 7.
OK, Rags in Westminster, thank you very much. And a little later, we'll get the thoughts of Americans in London, and there will be much more on Trump's visit on the evening news. Let's find out what's coming up with Lucrezia, who's in Windsor.
I'll be live from Windsor, where the royal family welcomed President Trump for a historic second state visit. The President and the First Lady, Melania, were greeted by the King and Queen for the royal occasion, but all behind the castle walls. This was the closest the public got to the pomp and pageantry inside. Also on the programme, the Met's prime suspect in Madeleine McCann's disappearance is out of jail in Germany. Plus, inflation remains steady, but the cost of food is surging. We look at why and what it means for interest rates. All that and much more at 6:30.
Well, as you just heard there, the Met Police says the prime suspect in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann remains a suspect in its own investigation, despite his release today from a German prison. Christian Bruckner had been serving a 7-year sentence for an unrelated offence. Earlier this week, Scotland Yard said he had refused a request to be interviewed by them. Sharon Thomas reports.
Out of prison and on the road to freedom. The scramble for shots leading to minor scuffles between the media and the police in this small town near Hanover. Christian Bruckner is now a free man after serving 7 years for the rape of a 72-year-old American woman in Portugal in 2005. He is now at large, says a spokesman for the German police. Our jurisdiction ends here with the termination of this operation, and I can't say anything about what happens beyond that. The attack took place in Praia de Luz, a holiday resort on the southern Portuguese coast, where 3-year-old Madeleine McCann vanished 18 months later. German prosecutors say 49-year-old Bruckner remains their prime suspect in her disappearance, which they're treating as a murder inquiry. The Met Police launched their own inquiry in 2011, codenamed Operation Grange. They say he does remain a suspect in their investigation, but that this week refused a request to be interviewed by them. The search for Madeleine McCann has taken investigating officers all over the world. German prosecutors believe Bruckner, a convicted paedophile and sexual predator, may know what happened to her. He strenuously denies any involvement. Nearly 2 decades on, Madeleine's disappearance remains one of the highest profile unsolved missing person cases in the world. Christian Bruckner has his liberty back. Sharon Thomas, ITV News.
Former Arsenal footballer Thomas Partey has pleaded not guilty to rape charges. He's accused of 5 counts of rape against 2 women, as well as a charge of sexual assault against a 3rd woman. The alleged offences took place between 2021 and 2022 when he was a Gunners player. A trial is expected to take place next year. And a former North London councillor has been charged over the so-called Westminster honey trap scandal. 28-year-old Oliver Steadman is accused of communications offences relating to the scandal, which saw MPs receive and exchange explicit images with an unknown phone number. Steadman quit as a Labour councillor in Islington in June last year. Next tonight, the Met Police says it's removed more than 1,400 officers who failed to meet standards as part of its biggest ever clear-out. The force has described it as an Al Capone approach to root out misconduct. Carolyn Sim is here. Carolyn, what more can you tell us?
Well, we've seen some figures today from the Met, which they claim shows just how serious they are about cleaning out wrongdoing and getting rid of bad officers. And this clean-out was ordered, of course, following a series of scandals, one of them being the murder of Sarah Everard by a serving police officer back in 2021. So the figures today show that more than 1,400 staff and officers were either sacked or they resigned or retired while they were being investigated between 2022 and 2025. That's the largest clean-out in the force's history. To put it into context, there were only 146 officers removed in 2021, and that rose to 557 in 2024. Now, the Met say they've managed to do this by taking what they call an Al Capone approach. He was the American gangster who was eventually jailed for tax evasion after the police looked at the bigger picture. So what the Met are doing is they're looking at things like the number of complaints made against squads, the number of sick days an officer takes, or the amount of overtime an officer is working. They say those behaviours could signal a problem. They've got 200 professional standards officers proactively working on this, rooting out the bad officers. And the Met says it's all about raising standards in the force and, of course, trying to regain the public's trust.
OK, Carolyn, thank you. Still to come. We speak to American expats in London. What do they make of Trump's visit and his ongoing spat with the mayor? And we meet our latest Pride of Britain finalist, the father trying to give his son a lasting legacy. But first to one of sport's most colourful characters. Promoter Eddie Hearn is the mastermind behind some of the biggest boxing matches in the world. But after growing up in Essex, he's told ITV News that keeping his successful company in Brentwood is a priority for him. Eddie spoke to us as a new Netflix show is released today, which gives an insight into his business, life and relationship with his father, Barry. Here's Daisy Bussell.
I'm Barry Hearn, president of Matchroom Sport.
Talk to me. I'm Eddie Hearn, I'm the chairman of Matchroom Sport.
They're the father and son heavyweights of sports promotion.
But he's not yet great.
And now viewers are getting ringside seats to the lives of Barry and Eddie Hearn with a new Netflix documentary.
Nearly 2 years of them following us around. So we had to really embrace letting them see everything raw.
What started as Barry's £100 venture has grown into the £1 billion sporting event business Matchroom.
Look at what the old man has done. So my dad's from a council estate in Dagenham. His dad was a bus driver and his mum was a cleaner. See, and I was born when he sort of started to find some success in business and in sport. So my background, as he calls me, you know, silver spoon kid, was a bit different to his. And growing up, it was just win. If you don't win, don't come home.
An outlook that meant when it came to father-son rivalry, the gloves are off.
We want to beat each other because I was brought up around sport and competition.
This looks like the Last Supper, doesn't it?
We're best mates, but it's not a traditional father and son relationship, really.
Despite working with megastars of the worlds of boxing, snooker and darts, the family business is very much rooted in its home in Essex.
You know, we often sit in a board meeting and say, you know, do we move up to Mayfair and take a 4-storey, you know, build? It's like, no, this is us. You know, I don't necessarily need to sit, you know, like I said, overlooking London in a big chair. You know, I'd rather be here where it all began.
But something the city does have to offer, the venues.
When I said to my dad, I think we're going to book Wembley, he was like, are you mad? It's 90,000. You know, Wembley and Spurs, two magnificent stadiums in London. And there's nothing like an outdoor stadium fight. You know, when you pack the place, the energy and the atmosphere, Sweet Caroline plays, and, you know, there's nothing like it.
Eddie's team will be back in the capital in November for the hotly anticipated rematch between Matchroom's Conor Benn and historic rival Chris Eubank Jr. And after suffering defeat in April, Eddie is confident for round 2.
We think we're going to get him this time. There's still that bad blood, you know, that they've got the respect of sharing 12 rounds together, but you know, this time, I believe we're going to get him.
Tickets for the fight at Tottenham Hotspur are yet to be released. But in the meantime, plenty of knockout drama from the Hearn family is streaming on the small screen from today.
And I ain't going to back down.
Daisy Bussell, ITV News.
OK, let's get a reminder of our main story tonight. And Donald Trump's arrival in the UK has been met with a barrage of criticism from London's mayor. As the US president was welcomed by the royals at Windsor, Sir Sadiq Khan accused him of fueling divisive far-right politics. Meanwhile, protesters took to the streets of central London to demonstrate against the state visit. Well, the mayor has also criticised Trump for making disparaging comments about London in the past. Sadiq Khan has argued that record numbers of Americans have, in fact, made the capital their home. Sangeeta Kandola has been finding out what those Americans living here or visiting make of it all.
For many Americans outside Buckingham Palace today, the talk of the town, the arrival of another US citizen.
Well, no matter how far we go, we can't get away from him.
We were surprised that he followed us all the way to London.
I think it's kind of, it's great to, like, of course, to see like the unity between the UK and the US. I wish it was under better circumstances.
And that rings true for Sir Sadiq Khan too. Ahead of Donald Trump's visit, the mayor has been calling for Trump to toe the line on his scathing attacks on London, most recently calling Mr. Khan a stone-cold loser who needs to focus on crime in the capital.
I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London, but a nasty person.
He's a friend of mine.
Sadiq Khan says if it's so bad here, then why have a record number of Americans applied for citizenship in the UK following Trump's election? I met up with 2 Americans living in London at a US-inspired sports bar to get their take.
It's not something that you can argue. Crime has definitely gone up in London. But when I do trip consultations with Americans who are planning trips here, I've had a very big spike in them asking recently, how safe is London? In central London, I feel very safe walking places by myself.
Everyone has actually been quite friendly, which I was a little worried about because of the tension between our government and that of London.
It seems more and more Americans are opting for a British slice of life. Since the start of the year, the Home Office say they have received more than 4,000 applications from US citizens, an increase of 40% compared to the year before. Greg Swenson is a patriotic American Republican who's been living in the capital for a decade. He says Mr. Trump is only pointing out issues that he knows how to fix.
We had the same problems, even just a year ago. And so I think that the president is hoping that maybe some lessons could be learned.
It's advice Mr. Khan is likely to pass on as the spat between the mayor and Mr. Trump looks set to continue. Sangeeta Kandola, ITV News.
Sally's here now. Sal, looked all right weather-wise. Not great, not bad, bit dull.
Yeah, a little bit squibby. And we've got a bit of a grey day tomorrow, but gradually brightening up a bit. But we've got this really strange thing happening with temperatures. So today was kind of normal. Tomorrow's a bit warmer, but then getting stickier. And then on Friday, we could get up to 26 degrees if we've got loads of sunshine. And then on Sunday, we're back down to 16. So you could see like an almost 10-degree drop-off. So it's a bit crazy. So good luck trying to find things to wear.
Come rain or shine, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello again and a very good evening to you. Hope you had a lovely day. Now this is a beautiful sight, isn't it? It is, believe it or not, a heron. Maybe not doing any modelling anytime soon, but very cute. And I love the little beak there. Now, our weather over the next few days. Well, tomorrow it's cloudy and quite muggy, getting a bit warmer and more humid, and then even warmer on Friday. If I show you the pressure chart, you can see what's going on. So we've got these trailing fronts, one after the other. Now, they are coming to the north of us, so we're likely to stay mostly dry here in the southeast until later on Saturday and Sunday at the moment, when that front eventually moves across us and is likely to bring some rain. But there's a lot of uncertainty, so it's definitely worth keeping an eye on the forecast as we go through the weekend. Also, by Sunday, you can see those wind arrows coming down from the north, so it is going to be a bit cooler. Right, for the rest of this evening, still some spots of drizzle under the thickest of that cloud, a little bit of mist and murk perhaps on any hills, and staying mild overnight. We're in those mid-teens, and with a bit of humidity, could end up feeling a little bit sticky tonight. So yes, a mild and muggy start for tomorrow morning, plenty more cloud. There is the chance of a bit of drizzle, but we're generally looking at a drier day and perhaps a little more brightness coming through that cloud. Temperatures a bit higher, 22, 23 are the highs, and it's, as I said, a little bit muggy as well, so it might just feel a bit close as we go through the day. Later on for the afternoon and evening, the odd clearer spell and overnight. But as we go into Friday, we are expecting those temperatures to climb possibly up into the mid-20s. It depends on how much sunshine we get before they drop off for Sunday. Cheerio.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Finally, the next of our incredible Pride of Britain fundraisers, George Alderman. In 2023, George and his family faced the unimaginable pain of losing their baby son, Jimmy, at just 7 weeks old. Jimmy had suffered a cardiac arrest while being breastfed in a baby sling. Following the tragedy, George channeled his grief into action, launching Jimmy's Cuddle. He's raised thousands of pounds to support bereaved families and campaigns for increased awareness over the safe use of baby carriers. His hope is to save lives, all while remembering and creating a legacy for baby Jimmy.
Hi, my name is George Alderman and I raise money through Jimmy's Cuddle for several charities, including St George's Hospital Charity and Momentum Children's Charity. Jimmy was, 7 weeks old when he died. My wife Ellie had Jimmy in a baby carrier, and I had gone out to the car. By the time I got back to the front door, I heard Ellie was in distress. Jimmy had turned white and had stopped breathing. Jimmy was taken in the ambulance, but his heart had been stopped for around 50 minutes. Unfortunately, because his heart had been stopped for so long, Jimmy, his brain was too badly damaged, so he was unable to recover. The conclusion of the coroner was that there wasn't enough public awareness and public health information for the safe use of baby carriers, particularly when it came to breastfeeding. So this was something that we were really keen to support and to raise awareness of. The whole time that Jimmy was in St George's, I stayed in hospital with him. I was in awe really of the people that were at St George's, from the cleaners to the consultants. Everyone was just absolutely amazing, and that's why I ended up setting up Jimmy's Cuddle for further fundraising activities. He was absolutely amazing. One of the reasons why Jimmy's Cuddle became Jimmy's Cuddle. My wife often said that when we were sort of cuddling on the sofa that it looked like I had a little pet monkey on my shoulder, and so that's why we've got the monkey on the logo, cuddling the heart, because Jimmy loved his cuddles and he was my little monkey. Last year we raised over £17,000 through a variety of different things, including a pub quiz, a charity cricket match, and I also ran the Royal Parks Half Marathon. This year so far we've raised over 15,000 and hopefully more. We've still got some more events to come.
Through their dedication, creativity, and just kind of like a relentless drive, they found ways in order to not just fundraise but connect communities, and I think that deserved a nomination, to be honest, because it created this huge ripple effect.
I wasn't expecting anything like this. I don't see it as me that's done it. I see it as this is what Jimmy's done. We're in Jimmy's garden today where his rose bush is and where his ashes are, and if I was to win this award, it would be Jimmy's award, to celebrate his life and to feel as though he's had a life that was longer than just 7 weeks.
The incredible George Alderman. And tomorrow we'll hear from the last of our Pride of Britain finalists. But for now, that's it from us. The evening news is next with Lucrezia in Windsor. But from all of us, do enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.